So I'm getting ready. Tomorrow we're gonna go for a hard enduro vlogging slash content creation ride. And I'm going to be putting this Trail Wrench Incorporated tool roll to the test. It's gonna go on the bars of the X Pro. I had to remove the horn in order to get this on because Beta has this funky way that they put their number plates on. It unrolls real nice, flops open. So right now it comes with the 1/4" L wrench. I don't actually know the fancy name for it, and an 8mm socket. Then I put in all of my wrenches, 2 10s, 2 8s, a 12, and a 7 in order to work on the X Trainer and the X Pro. Then I also have a bunch of Allens I shoved in here, some safety wire, and some duct tape is shoved in the bottom. That's what I put in this kit. I still have all of these though, and then this whole roll I plan on replacing. This works. I'm gonna get the little niblets to put in here, the multi-tool, the steel stick, the spark plug wrench, and that'll go in my backpack. So this is the setup we got going on. I got the trail wrench thing shoved in behind my plate. This is holding it in on the bottom, strapped up on the top. It's at full lock. It's not hitting the cowl, but we're gonna go for a test ride, make sure that it stays in the same spot. And if it doesn't, then I got space in my backpack and we're gonna go out and do some crazy filming. Look at that gear. Sharp. I like it, actually.
Go tear it up a little bit, right?
I really like the cheetah print. It really brings out your eyes and your sassy girl hips.
Nice.
Trail wrench to the test. So before we went out and did anything too gnarly, I just wanted to do a quick warm-up, try and smooth out my pivot turns a little bit, and of course, any good warm-up turns into a full-on coaching session out here at the Splat Moto Ranch. Today's mission is going to be Hillclimbs, so the boys are trying to get me to go up this wall and kind of figure out how to keep my weight back and hold a little bit of pressure once I get up there. And of course, these guys just make it look so smooth and easy. And I won't lie, I was a little nervous to hit this. I don't know why, because when you look at it, it's basically just the same as going up a hill, but for some reason, man, new obstacles, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies galore. But I bucked up, I hit it, it wasn't pretty, but once I got up there, I was like, oh, look, it's not that bad. And so I lined up to do it again, and a third time when I'm feeling good and confident. You know what they say, confidence killed the cat.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Your leg okay? Oh, that concrete.
I'm good.
Oh, that concrete's dangerous right there.
I feel like I had the heebie-jeebies before I probably shouldn't have died. I feel like I spun somewhere down there.
That concrete up there is dangerous right now too. I shouldn't have put that there, but you have to decide before you even get up there, you have to decide which way am I going to end up once I'm up there. A lot of it comes to just envisioning where you're going to end up. Looking back at the film, I can see you lifted your front end up pretty aggressively and the front wheel was already like this. That moose being so flat like that, it doesn't allow you to lean the way that you want to as much. When you're down here, you're already thinking, I'm gonna end up way over here. I don't want anything to do with that piece of concrete. So envisioning where you're gonna go, just all in sort of a short little period down here, but it's kind of a confidence thing.
I lined up to do it again, and this time you can hear me psyching myself up. I'm gonna go straight this time.
That's looking a lot better. Do the same thing. Try to start carrying your front wheel a little higher just for the sake of being able to do it.
Okay.
As you're getting closer to the top, start going a little too slow. Don't just let the clutch out and spin. Just start to slip the clutch just a little bit, and that'll control your wheel spin as you're slowing down. But that was really good, all the stuff you just did. That's pretty good though, because that means you were getting really good traction right where you needed it at the top. Slightly start slipping the clutch right at the top, and then you won't stall it. But that was essentially perfect, what you wanted. That was the kind of power that you wanted. That gives you the best traction. Have the butt be off the back of the bike by the time you get to the top.
For those who didn't see it, I spun at the top where I was supposed to hold pressure, and it was freaky because I lost traction.
What will help you right there is get your butt all the way back over the back of the bike, right at that moment where your rear wheel broke loose. If you get all your weight over the rear tire, now you're gonna get the traction and it won't break loose, but you gotta combine that with the clutch work as well.
Look at those concrete evasion skills. Nice.
Whoa, 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 hey. Okay, you got time. Good job. Way to not panic.
Should have kept that front wheel high.
There you go, now pull that front end over, yeah. Exactly.
I didn't keep my front end high, and I went that way.
You cased it.
I did.
You lifted the front end way too high right off the bat. the front end was at the top already. It never even touched the ground. It has to hit that first thing. That's going to send the bike up in the direction. That's going to let the suspension work and let the bike get all the way up to the top nicely. You could do it the way you just did it, but it was dangerous.
Yeah, look.
Way to not panic though. So you always have time. Stay with the bike. Try to keep it in those situations. Try to stay with the bike as long as you can. And then if you absolutely have to, then bail and get away from the bike off to the side if you can. One thing you can do instead of just holding yourself in place, if the front end seems like you're gonna flip over backwards, sometimes you can pull the clutch in and allow the bike to roll back so that the rear wheel comes back underneath you instead of the bike flipping over backwards. Right. And now when you're rolling backwards, that could be sketchy.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's better just to leave the bike where it is and you jump off the back and allow the bike to stay there. You're not always gonna win, but that's one method we use.
Wow, look at that. I didn't even realize it brought it that high.
Okay, so back to the tire.
Yeah.
You know, pick it up right where we talked about.
Right. It's amazing how hard we can make something so simple if we really break it down and focus on one tiny little individual thing. But enough of that. It's time to move on to cool stuff, you know, like time to move this video along, I feel like. So our goal for today was actually to make a video comparing the Beta X trainer to the Beta X Pro and getting first impressions and like, who is this bike for? All of that kind of jazz. So Nick and Sam were taking turns on the bike as well as me riding through it, and I was helping them film all day. Look, there I am holding the camera, but enough of this. Let's get out on the trail and let's do some riding. This place is so crumbly, it'll bite you if you're not paying attention. Nick's #1 rule is to always be looking underneath your tires and see what's underneath there, and check it out. He broke his #1 rule. If you're not careful, this place bites back real hard. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. It was at this moment Sam knew he fell in the same trap. Now we move into a bunch of on-trail coaching, masterclassing, whatever you call it. Right now we're talking Sidehills because they are not my strong suit. I hesitated.
No, it starts back there. Before that front tire even got to that dead bush where your foot's at,
Yeah.
You should have been like this. You got to throw your weight back and squat the rear end into the ground. Put the weight into the ground. Otherwise, it's just going to slide out.
Yeah.
Just even having your weight back isn't good enough. You need to initiate and force the rear end into the ground. And you will continue to drive all the way. If you stop though, you will high side or you'll slip downward. You can do it, figure it out. It's a good spot to try and figure this out. Not too dangerous. Woo! Hey, perfect. Now bring the front end over my way. There you go. Give it a real good flick. All right, so We're gonna try and head up the hill here, so I need to power through the transition. The transition is off camber. There are some rocks to contend with. I can't just spin like a maniac through the transition, but having some power to the ground, letting that rear wheel spin through the meat of the apex of the corner, that's gonna maintain pressure. The second that I hesitate, the second that I let off, I'm immediately gonna start, front end's gonna wash down, something's gonna wash down. So we need to commit. And this sensitive stuff is so loose and there's so much junk right underneath the surface, I gotta keep the weight back. I gotta exaggerate my weight back, especially through the apex, to make sure that the rear wheel doesn't break loose. And then once I get to my high point on the hill, let's say I didn't make it as high as I wanted to go, I start to lose momentum and the front end's going up the air. I gotta stop giving it power, otherwise it's gonna just keep pointing the bike straighter up the hill when I want to get across the hill that way. So as I start to lose momentum, starting to pull the clutch back in and starting to head back that direction. Probably second gear, get us more speed going here.
Right now my weakness is side hills and basically just powering through things. So that's kind of what we're focusing on.
Go down. Don't worry about getting a fancy angle though. Assume that as you go through the corner, the bike will go through that main line. You need to think about where you're headed and accelerate through the corner. So don't even worry about bringing that rear end real low. Like right, see what happens? It never works out here. Shit, it doesn't work anywhere. This is not something that we do in hard enduro, is bring the bike back down the hill. It's so rare that we do that. There you go, leave right from there. Try to hit my same line, which means you gotta aim just a couple inches higher than my line as you're going through it initially here.
You can hear it right away. I just built a bunch of power and then rolled off right when I needed to be applying power. Look at that. And then I applied power once I was pointed up the hill, but what if it was steeper, you know?
That we want to accelerate through the transition of the corner. Keep the suspension loaded. What if we had to get up something steeper than that? You want to try to gain as much momentum through these corners as you can before you get on the spot where it's like all off camber and rocky. So just swing back around one time.
I didn't build a bunch of power that time, but at least I had a consistent application of power to the ground while I went through that corner. Definitely still have a lot to work on, but at least it's an improvement. That side hill ended at the bottom of this ridgeline hill climb, which really tested my nerves. This is Nick making the run on the Beta X Pro, doing some testing throughout the day. But he challenged me to go up this and hit that ledge that he took the easy line around and to really try and make this in one solid go. And this climb really shook my confidence. It really got on my nerves for some reason. I originally wanted to pivot around the ledge, but Nick was pretty confident that I could make it up that ledge, and he really wanted to see me make it up there. No, I'll just start up there.
That was perfect. That was plenty of speed to get up that thing. But you gotta build power when you do it.
I was all sorts of psyched out about this. I'm not 100% certain why I was putting so much pressure on myself to make it up here, but I was like freaking out about the fact that I couldn't make it, and those guys were so supportive and encouraging. They're like, no, just do it. Like, you got it. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Just go. I mean, look at that. That wasn't so bad, was it? I mean, we just floated right on up. I didn't even hit it with my front tire on accident. It was like a nice little ramp. It was insane. In fact, I think this part right here where I was trying to pivot around to get lined up for the next part of the hill climb was harder than the ledge. And I know it wasn't pretty, but the fact that I kept moving on this hill climb is an insane accomplishment for me. I rode this trail probably a year and a half ago, and it was probably every 50 feet. I stopped, I dug a hole. It was a mess, so this was pretty cool. And then it was time to film Nick, and Ben and I had a bunch of fun. The Goggle-nator. That's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're interested in our thoughts on the X Pro versus the X Trainer, please make sure to subscribe to Splat Moto on YouTube so that you can get notified of that video coming out. And if you liked this video, please make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. It helps keep me motivated to make more Fun Guy Reality TV, and I'll see you on the next one.